What would you do if the woman you loved, the one you built a life with, was in bed with another man, not in some distant city, but in your own home, just hours after you'd kissed her goodbye? I never thought I would be asking myself that question, but there I was, standing in the hallway of our Brooklyn brownstone. The faint sounds of laughter and a woman's gasp echoing from our bedroom. My flight from LAX had been unexpectedly canceled, a blessing in disguise, or so I thought. The glow of my phone screen at 2 a.m., showing the text from the airline, felt like a cruel joke now. I'd walked in, expecting a quiet house, maybe a sleeping wife, but instead, I found the bedroom door left slightly ajar, a sliver of light escaping, in a scene that would forever burn itself into my memory. The world tilted, and I knew with a sickening certainty that my life as I knew it was over. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The humiliation hit me first, a tidal wave of nausea and disbelief. It wasn't just the act itself, but the casualness of it, the audacity. My wife, Sarah, a woman I'd adored since college, was tangled with Mark, my supposed friend, a man I'd introduced her to at a company picnic. The air in our home, once filled with shared dreams and quiet comfort, now reeked of betrayal. I didn't burst in. I couldn't. My body felt like lead, my mind a chaotic storm. I retreated, a ghost in my own house, and spent the rest of the night in my study, staring at the dark street outside, the city lights blurring through my unshed tears. Over the next few weeks, a strange pattern emerged. Sarah became distant, her phone a constant companion, always face down, always clutched tight. Late-night work calls became frequent, her explanations vague, her eyes avoiding mine. The receipts I found in her purse, a lavish dinner for two at a downtown Manhattan restaurant, not our usual spot, and a boutique hotel bill from a weekend she claimed to be visiting her sister in Philadelphia, painted a grim picture. Each discovery was a fresh stab, confirming the nightmare I'd witnessed. She grew cold, manipulative, twisting my questions into accusations, making me feel like the paranoid one. "You're imagining things, David," she'd say, her voice laced with an icy calm that chilled me to the bone. Mark, meanwhile, seemed to float through life with an infuriating smugness, a knowing smirk whenever our paths crossed at social gatherings. They felt untouchable, their secret a shield, their arrogance a taunt. I remember one particularly brutal evening. We were at a charity gala in the Plaza Hotel ballroom, a place where we'd once danced, full of hope. Sarah was radiant, laughing a little too loudly with Mark across the room, their hands brushing, a secret language passing between them. I felt a profound, soul-crushing loneliness, surrounded by people, yet utterly isolated. That night, I broke. I locked myself in the bathroom, the opulent marble and gold fixtures mocking my despair. I stared at my reflection, a hollowed-out version of the man I once was. But in that moment of absolute brokenness, a cold, clear resolve began to form. The tears stopped. The pain hardened into something sharp, something dangerous. I started gathering proof, meticulously, silently. I installed discreet cameras in the house, not in our bedroom, but in common areas, capturing their furtive glances, their stolen touches when they thought I was out. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Frank from a small office in Queens, who provided me with irrefutable evidence, timestamps, locations, photographs, texts, emails, phone records, a digital breadcrumb trail of their deceit. I consulted with a divorce attorney, a sharp-suited woman named Ms. Albright, whose office overlooked Central Park. She listened patiently, her expression unreadable. As I laid out the sordid details, each piece of evidence a nail in Sarah's coffin. We planned, we strategized, building a case that would leave no room for doubt, no avenue for escape. The traps were set. First, the legal one. Ms. Albright filed the divorce papers, citing adultery, a move that would strip Sarah of any claim to our shared assets, including the brownstone she so adored. Then the social trap. I orchestrated a farewell dinner, inviting close friends, family, and even some of Sarah's colleagues at a high-end restaurant in the West Village. The atmosphere was tense, Sarah oblivious, still basking in her perceived victory. As the dessert was served, I stood, raised my glass, and with a calm, steady voice, thanked everyone for coming. Then I played the video. Not the explicit ones, but the subtle, damning clips of Sarah and Mark, their intimacy undeniable, projected onto a screen I'd secretly arranged. The gasps, the whispers, the horrified faces. It was a symphony of public exposure. Sarah's face drained of color, her arrogance crumbling into a mask of pure terror. Mark, pale and sweating, tried to slink away, but the room was too crowded, too shocked. The fallout was swift and brutal. Sarah lost her job, her reputation in tatters. Her family, once so fond of her, turned their backs. The divorce was finalized, leaving her with nothing but the clothes on her back and the shame of her actions. Mark, too, faced professional repercussions and social ostracization. I saw Sarah once more, months later, on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, walking alone down a desolate street in the Bronx, her once vibrant hair dull, her shoulders slumped. She looked like a ghost, a shadow of the woman she had been. She didn't see me, and I didn't call out. There was nothing left to say. The silence in my brownstone is deafening now, a quiet, haunting echo of a life that once was, and a future that will never be.